Welcome to Green is Good today, and today we're so honored to have our first NFL athlete, Ovie Mughelli from the Atlanta Falcons. Ovie, we're going to talk about your background a little bit, but thank you for joining us today from Atlanta on the Green is Good radio show.
No problem, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, Ovie, now you grew up in Boston, Massachusetts. Is this so?
I was born in Boston, Massachusetts, but
Okay.
I actually moved from Boston to New York shortly after I was born.
Where'd you grow up in New York?
Brooklyn. I was there for Brooklyn for about 3 years of my life, but then I moved to Texas, where I was there for maybe 4 or 5 years, and I finally settled down in Charleston, South Carolina, around 3rd or 4th grade. So I really call that home.
Got it. So you moved around a lot as a kid.
Yeah, my dad was busy working.
And then you ended up at Wake Forest University. Now I'm an older guy, Ovie, and Mike and I, we grew up in the era of Brian Piccolo. So you followed in Brian Piccolo's footsteps over at Wake Forest.
No, I did. Actually, he was an amazing player. I feel honored that my senior year, I was able to get enough touchdowns to where I was second only to Brian Piccolo, the amount of touchdowns I scored, my senior season.
Wow. Those are some great footsteps, and that's a great record. To be number 2 behind Brian Piccolo is like winning the race anyway. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So okay, Ovie, we talk about on the Green is Good show people who are inspiring others to do great things with regards to the environment and economic leaders and think tank. And we had Lee Steinberg on a couple of weeks ago, and he did a great show on being a sports agent and motivating his athletes to make a difference and make a change. And here we are with you today, and we have our first NFL athlete being you to talk about the change you're making. Tell us about the Ovie Mughelli Foundation, how it got started, why you started it, and what's it doing.
Well, the Ovie Mughelli Foundation is something that's always been near and dear to my heart. Giving back is, I think, kind of in my DNA, just from my background, from my parents who, are both Nigerian. They came over here with next to nothing, and, through education, they got, they've come really far. My dad is a successful OBGYN in Charleston, South Carolina. My mom has her master's in business and runs all 3 of his offices, and they're doing great. But even when they had, next to nothing, they always sent money home to their parents, to their cousins, to their siblings. Now, I have a really big family. My dad is like the oldest of 10. My mom is the oldest of 11. So I have cousins and aunts and uncles. And unfortunately, I've only seen them once when I went back to Nigeria. But I know they're out there, and so I'm always sending, jerseys and cleats and shoes and money back there.
Wow.
And even in the States, I always wanted to give to people less fortunate than me because, when I was growing up, I definitely wasn't growing up with a silver spoon in my mouth. We had to struggle. My mom and dad, had to struggle. There were several people in the church, in our community, who helped us out. I remember being a little kid and having, certain ladies just always come to my house, the same time of the week, drop off some food, drop off some supplies, and just be there for us. So now that I'm in the position I'm in now, I've always wanted to give back. And it started in Baltimore with the Ravens, where I was concerned about education and concerned about health and wellness. Those were my 2 passions. I really didn't get the environmental bug until I came to Atlanta, and I ran across a certain Laura Turner Seidel, who was, all I knew her as was Ted Turner's daughter, and Ted Turner's huge, and Laura Turner Seidel is just huge, because she's his daughter and in her own right. The Captain Planet cartoon was my favorite cartoon. That's how our competition got started.
Really?
It's
Captain Planet, all right.
Yeah, I just joined the Falcons, and they sent me for a community program. They wanted me to be a part of Chattahoochee River Keepers, who were trying to clean up the river in Atlanta. So I went down there just as a emissary of the Falcons. Ran into Laura. We started talking about Captain Planet. I told her that was the only cartoon that had an educational message, and she's like, yeah, me and my dad, we worked on that, came up with it. I was like, yeah, I loved it. And so she asked me, so what are you doing? I told her I had a foundation that worked on education, health, and wellness. She asked me, what are you doing to help encourage kids to go green and to, help the environment? And I looked at her kind of funny. What am I doing? I didn't know I was supposed to be doing anything. I was like, why should I be doing anything? It's not really that big of a problem. And that was the wrong thing to say to somebody who spent her whole life trying to, help the environment.
Got it.
Yeah. You don't say that to Laura Turner Seidel. So she kind of politely pulled me to the side and sat me down and said, this is why you need to care about the environment. She went through, her life story. She went through, everything from the rainforest to disappearing bees to the amount of animals that are going extinct. She went to the polar ice caps. She went to talk to me about just air quality, talk to me about health, talk to me about water quality, talk to me about the sea level rising. It was so many things. It was almost an overload, but the biggest thing that hit me, she was like, if you say that you love your family, you love your mother, you love your father, you love your friends, and especially that you love your kids, you can't say that and mean that if you don't care about the environment, because you're not taking care of where they're going to spend the rest of their lives. So you can't say you love people if you don't love the environment.
Boy, that is a powerful challenge, isn't it?
Oh, you have no idea. I was there, my mouth open, like, just dumbfounded. Like, she really schooled me. She really, put me in my place and really explained to me, why I should care about the environment. And she challenged me as well to say that there are so many youth out there who feel the way you do. You're, at the time I was 27, you're a 27-year-old man, and you feel that way, and I won't say don't care about the environment, but are really nonchalant about it. These kids are just like you. These kids follow what you do. You're their hero. What's important to you is important to them. If you were to get the message across to kids about how important the environment is, you'd be able to make so much change. Your one voice can make so much change. You just take it an interest because it can make so much change. She's like, what's stopping you from doing that? I told her, nothing. And so from that day on, I started working closely with her, trying to add an environmental component to my foundation, actually having the environmental component be the main component of my foundation. So that's kind of how everything got started.
Good for you. And so what does your foundation do, and what is its platform right now? What are you trying to accomplish? If you were to say, here's my vision and here's our mission statement, what is that?
Well, our mission statement is our future is green. Oh. And that just applies to all kids, to all races, all creeds. Just let them know that our future is green. And our meaning that we have to take a concerted effort and take a leadership role in that, to let people know that it's not going to happen by someone else doing it. You can't just wait for it to happen. You have to take you have to invest yourself, your time, some of your money, your efforts into making sure that our future is green. And it's all about getting these kids to make practical lifestyle changes to help the environment. Not only environment meaning, trees and grass, but environment meaning their communities, their neighborhoods, down to their houses and their schools. So if they can start from the inside out or make change from the inside out, we think that, it can be lasting change.
That is a powerful statement, a wonderful mission. Our future is green. We're gonna take a little break for our commercial sponsors, and we're gonna come on back to Green is Good with Ovie Mughelli, who just said our future is green.
If a little green is good, more is even better. Now, back to Green is Good with John Shigarian and Mike Brady.
Welcome back to Green is Good, and Mike and I have today Ovie Mughelli from the Atlanta Falcons on the line with us. He's our first NFL player ever to be on Green is Good. Ovie, welcome back, and thank you for joining us today.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, so Ovie, you are an eco-athlete. Are you the oddball in the locker room? Tell the truth now. Is everyone making fun of you in the Atlanta Falcon locker room, or is everybody, or more of the guys really turning like you? And are you a leader there, and they're more wanting to get some of what you're doing?
Well, really, I wouldn't say I'm the oddball, because thankfully our whole organization and some NFL teams are picking up on this.
Yeah.
But Arthur Blank, our owner, is amazing in that he goes the extra mile and has done amazing changes this year to make the whole organization more green. Like, for the first time this year, I was so surprised when I saw not only a trash cans in the locker room, but I saw these big blue bins next to the trash cans. I said, "Are we recycling now?" And it's funny that it's taken us so long, the Falcons and the NFL, so long to do simple things such as recycling. But we've changed our whole paper system to recyclable paper. We use like bamboo knives and forks and plates and all types of stuff. So I'm not that much of an oddball because it's stuff that makes sense. And what I tell the kids all the time is that, I'm not perfect. They're not going to be critics who come to me and say, well, Ovie didn't do this and Ovie didn't do that. Because I tell them all the time, Ovie's not perfect, but Ovie's working on it. You can easily find, chinks in my armor because I'm not Mr. Green. But every single day, every single week, every single month, I learn more about how I can, plan it. I learn more about how I can change, my everyday activities in order to, leave less of a carbon footprint or, be less wasteful or to use less energy.
And that's a great point. And I want all of our listeners to be able to, of course, access your great foundation. And I'm going to give it later, but I'm going to give it now too. I want them to go to OvieMughelli34.com, OvieMughelli34.com, and hit the community tab to see what you're doing with your foundation. I want you to tell a little bit. You raise money with this foundation, and what do you do with it? I mean, we were talking a little bit off air about your eco camp. Talk a little bit about that, and what else do you do with the money you raise, and what are your other initiatives besides Our Future is Green being a great mission?
Well, we raise money so we can try and give back to these kids and really educate them. The first step for them caring about the environment is for them to understand why they should care about the environment. So education, as in general with anything, is key. But education, especially in the environmental world, is especially key because these kids have no idea about what's going on. They may hear a quick tidbit on Earth Day. They may hear a quick snippet, from their teachers or from parents, but no one really sits them down and really grills them, on what's this, what's that, why is this important, why is that important, what's the carbon footprint, why should we, buy produce locally, what's the difference? That doesn't make a difference. Right. And if they get all these answers to these questions, then they understand. So what we do is we have something called the Green Speaker Series. Okay. Because it's not only important for these kids to understand that helping the environment is great, but they need to understand that helping the environment can help themselves as well. Because There are several green businesses out there where these kids can really change their lives, and they can really not only help the environment but help themselves. So we have people who make bamboo cups and plates. We have people who own recycling plants. People who are make organic T-shirts. Anybody doing something in the green space, to help the planet and have it as a business, they come and speak to these kids, and they trade off as well. Sometimes these kids take field trips and go out to these businesses. So it's all about getting into the space and understanding that it's more than just, being a tree hugger or something that's on the extreme of the environmental end. There are ways that it can make sense and ways that, both parties can benefit. So that's one of the programs that people, the kids especially, have really enjoyed because making green and going green, you can't go wrong with that.
How many kids do you get to touch every year? How many kids does your foundation get to speak to every year?
Well, hundreds really, because we have every week we have a different speaker go, and once a month I go to a class. Sometimes it's a whole grade, speak to maybe 100, 200 kids at a time, and just talk to them about my experiences, about football, my stories, why I got involved, why I think it's important. And the kids, I'm always surprised about how amazed and in awe kids are of me, because I forget, I do this every day, that I'm a National Football League player, and, I'm on TV, and I play in front of 80,000 people, and
You're larger than life. So you're larger than life to them.
I am, but to myself, I'm just me. So I forget how just
how you get to really make a change with them, how you get to affect them. That's amazing.
Exactly. One of the other programs that we do is the Mughelli Planeteers, and that deals directly with football. Because my whole thing is that I want to use my so-called celebrity to draw these kids in. Use football, the fact that kids love that sport, to draw these kids in. And once I have them there, to educate them on the environment. The Mughelli Planeteers is a program where I give 30 to 40 tickets to every home game to an organization that is all about kids, an organization that's helping kids and whose kids are interested about getting involved in the environment. And the way that my mama always got me to do things I didn't want to do was incentive-based. She got to say, clean your room and you can get, $5, or if you mow the lawn, you can go to McDonald's. And so not all kids are excited about the environment. But if you give them an incentive, such as you get to go to a football game, they'll do just about anything you want them to do, including learn about the environment, which is something that at first they'll think is lame or they may think it has nothing to do with them. But once you force them to learn it, or once they want to learn it in order to get an incentive, they'll realize that, hey, this environmental stuff is not so bad. It actually makes sense, and it's actually something that I want to do now.
Well, if Ovie's doing it, it's actually cool, because if Ovie could do it, we could do it.
Exactly.
So tell us a little, how do you raise money the most? I know you have a big fundraiser coming up on December 5th. Ovie, how do we get our listeners to help you help the kids? Through your website, through your fundraiser? Tell our listeners how to get activated to help your mission.
Well, definitely anybody who's anybody nationwide, please email me directly. My foundation director will look at all these emails and see how you can help us and we can help you. My foundation email right now is Ovie Mughelli Foundation @gmail.com. Until we get our website up and the rest of our stuff up, send all emails to Ovie Mughelli Foundation @gmail.com and let us know, how you want to help. If you want to give a donation, if you want to volunteer, whatever you want to do, because we need help, but we need to work together to solve this problem. But the last program I want to tell you about, what we did, is my football camp. I do a football camp every year in my hometown, Charleston. Next year, I'm doing it in Charleston and Atlanta. And this year, the camp was completely green. Anywhere we can go green, we went green. From getting an Audi TDI car that was energy efficient and really allowed us to get a whole bunch of miles on a little bit of gas. We got some of my teammates down there. We had all the plates and everything else were organic. We had the T-shirts that were organic. We had recycling bins all over the place. But what we did is that we told the kids it was a football camp, but it was really an environmental workshop. These kids played environmental Jeopardy, and it was actually fun because they won prizes at the end. These kids did a recycling relay, which was like a huge obstacle course, but in the middle of it, there was paper, there was plastic, there's all types of recycling things that figure out, what goes where. The trash goes to the trash, the recycling stuff go here. They have to sort the recycling bin in the middle of an obstacle course. And so they're laughing, they're playing, they're tagging each other, and before they even knew it, they were learning how to recycle while having a great time. So the whole camp was an opportunity to really immerse these kids in the environmental world, and it was a huge success.
That is just wonderful. And how many kids come to the camp?
We have over 350 kids registered, but this year we're going to take about 200.
Wow. So this is like your eco camp.
It pretty much is my eco camp, and that was really the highlight of my summer, seeing how well the kids responded to, the whole environmental part of the camp, because I was really afraid that a lot of these kids would, fall asleep, act up, be unruly, keep on asking me, when are we going back outside to play football? I don't want this environmental stuff, but they had a great time outside with the football. They had a great time inside learning about the environment. Outside, we still did things to turn the environment, such as, recycling relay and other games that merged fitness and athletics with, environmental education.
It's really cool, Ovie, when you're talking about that and you're describing this environmental relay. I was just sitting there with my eyes closed, and you were painting such a word picture. I mean, it just made me break into this huge smile because I think it touched a little part of the little kid in me, because there's, no matter how old you get, there's that little kid that remains alive, and I could just see myself running and playing and laughing with friends and falling down and picking up and playing tag and trying to get through this obstacle course and trying to, think, okay, I'm going to beat everybody else. I know where this goes. You painted such a great mental image of that. It just, what a joy. And I mean, to be able to take your celebrity and kids' love for just running around and football and to marry those into such a concept, an eco-football camp, is just absolutely brilliant.
Do you have other athletes come, or is it just you there?
No, I definitely had other athletes come. I had Jason Snelling, the other tailback, who now is going to be our third-string tailback. But because of injuries to Michael Turner and Jerry Dorwood, he's going to be our starting tailback this week. So it's going to be me and Jason running around against the New York Giants this Sunday.
Well,
I also had Willie Whitehead, who used to play with the Saints, big defensive tackle, big guy. Kids had a lot of fun with him, climbing on him like it was a jungle gym. And I had Roddy White, a fellow South Carolina guy who came. And actually, we should have some great footage if, in the future I can get this stuff to you guys.
Yeah.
Me and Roddy White, we said, hey, kids, back up. Let's show you how it's done. So we went through the relays. We went over the bags. We flipped the tires. We went under the nets. We came to the recycling part. We had to figure out, we had to use our minds to figure out, all right, this trash goes in the trash can. This recycling thing goes here. This paper, is this plastic? What goes where? Is this compost thing? And we had to figure that out. Then we had to finish the rest of the relay. And unfortunately, he beat me. So I slipped. But it was a lot of fun for even the big kids.
Hey, Ovie, where is your fundraiser this year, and what's your goal? And why should how do people get involved with that? Just so I know, it's on December 5th. Is it in Atlanta? You have other stars coming, and how can our listeners get involved?
Well, our first fundraiser is really just a small pep rally. When we do it, we're going to do it really big, and we're going to do it really great. And this is our first fundraiser to get our initial programs out the way.
Okay.
But we're working with Jim Ellis Audi. It's going to be the Georgia World Congress Center, and it's more of a pep rally before our Philadelphia Eagles game, where people can bid on paraphernalia, a lot of sports memorabilia, a lot of stuff from myself, Tony Gonzalez, Pat Ryan, Michael Turner.
Got it.
And just get a chance to be a part of my world, which is environment and football.
Got it.
So if you email my foundation director, you can get more information on that.
Hey, Ovie, we're down to the 2-minute warning, which I know you understand really well. And also, the NFL sometimes stands for not for long. And we know that all careers are limited in the NFL, and God willing, you're going to have a long one. But what is in store for you? You're such a bright young man, and you've got such a great vision and mission of our future is green. What's in store? Are you going to become a doctor like your dad? You're getting your MBA like your mom? Or what are you really going to go do?
Well, really, I was interested in both because I majored in sports medicine and had a concentration in pre-med. My dad's a doctor, as you know. My oldest sister is about to finish up medical school. My mom has a master's in business. I want to do it all, but, right now, the more I spend with this environmental thing, the more I want to get involved with it. I'm actually very honored to meet Al Gore on Monday. He's coming to Atlanta to speak, and he found out that I'm one of the few or the only eco athlete around, and so I get a chance to get pictures with him and get to meet him. And when I talk to him, I'm going to talk about a future after my football days in the environmental world and get into the business of the environment. So hopefully that's somewhere I can stay.
Well, that is awesome. And Ovie Mughelli, this has been a true honor and humbling for Mike Brady and myself for you to be the first NFL athlete on Green is Good. It's so fitting because your message and your mission is amazing. We wish you the best of luck. We wish you continued success. Your mission of Our Future's Green is really tremendous, and all of our listeners should go to your website, OVIMUGHELLI34.com. Hit the community tab button, learn more about you. And Ovie Mughelli, you are living proof that green is good.